Let's bring in our correspondent in Jerusalem, Noga Tarnopolsky. Noga, a very good evening to you. Tell us more about the situation regarding Iran and its nuclear program.
Good evening, Mark. Yes, there's been quite a bit of news. The first thing we heard today, which was itself quite shocking, from the Guardian newspaper, is that the United States offered Iran a sort of exchange deal, some sort of peace agreement or the lifting of sanctions, if Iran agreed to dispatch its uranium, its nuclear material, out of Iran to a third country. The nation being mentioned was Russia. But we heard this in the context of Iran not being interested even in that sort of an offer. Obviously the news of this sort of an American alliance with Russia coming upon the U.S. Acquiescence of Russian efforts in Europe, in Ukraine, also caused reverberations here in the Middle East. And subsequently, news came of Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, saying that, in fact, the United States is not interested in dismantling Iran's nuclear program. The exact thing that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had demanded in his White House meeting with Donald Trump just a few days ago. Steve Witkoff said, no, we just don't want them to have a bomb. He said the president says, we don't want them to have a bomb, so we don't want them to have a bomb. And the Iranians, despite evidence to the contrary, have always claimed, as you said, that they have just a civilian program. Later, this was joined today with the news that we got recently, which is that the Commerce Secretary of the United States has agreed to give the U.S. okay to Saudi Arabia establishing for the first time its own civilian nuclear program. And this basically augurs the possibility here in the Middle East of an India-Pakistan type high noon between two major nations, enemy nations, Iran and Saudi Arabia, neither of which is friendly to Israel, both of which are ramping up their nuclear programs.